Sex is for poor people. Now that I got your attention, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Today's video, we're going to be going over basically just my mindset when it comes to writing these dispute letters. And I just put it on the screen right now as y'all see. Just the beginning stuff, but we're going to actually draft it up. Just kind of give y'all my look in terms of, my mind. Because I know a lot of people, they make the dispute process like super like deep, but it really comes down to a few things, and then you're pretty much able to draft up your dispute letter however you want. But yeah, y'all remember, man, stay focused, stay on your purpose. Sex is for poor people. Don't be just out here having sex, sex, sex. You know what I'm saying? So let's get it. And make sure you like, comment, subscribe if you get some value from the video. And yeah, let's get it. All right. So it really comes down to when I'm writing these dispute letters, I think of basically three things. So I think of what, why, and how. When I say what, why, and how, I want y'all to take notes, right? So what means like what happened, right? So what happened? What happened in there? What items am I disputing? What items are you disputing, right? The what is also like at the end, what do you want them to do? So obviously, as you see on the screen, we're writing it to the credit bureaus. And you could use a similar formula for the creditor as well, but I just want to focus on the credit bureaus, right? So what happened? What items are you disputing? What do you want them to do? So everything, what? Gotta just think about what happened, right? All right, so and then why? Why are you able? Why are you able to dispute or why are you disputing? So this is where we get into our loss, right? So quoting a loss, and then it leads to how it's a violation. Why is it a violation? Right? Because we're telling them, they violated our rights. And then how is it a violation? So basically explaining the law that you are talking about. So to be honest, depending on the item that we're actually disputing, you could dispute them all similarly, but certain items you're gonna want to dispute, I guess, differently. And just for the sake of being uniform, we could just treat it as if we're disputing late payments. So how I would begin my letter: dispute notice, right? Just say something super simple. I pulled a copy of my Experian consumer report. Before we continue, let me just finish this. And notice some items that I would like to dispute. The items are as follows. So like I said, I already put some information, so you're going to put your full name, obviously. Current address, if you've been there for less than 2 years, you may need the previous address. Last four of your social security, date of birth, identification is important. You don't want to get no stall tactic. The date, because we're going to send certified mail, we want to be able to track stuff. And then Experian, they got hella PO box addresses. I just put this for y'all to, go ahead and use. And the reason why you want to, this is a registered agent, by the way. The reason why you want to put the registered agent address is because I like to look at it as when I'm writing these letters, you're basically going into war with them. Every notice you send is basically building up to court. You've heard that thing about, court starts in the mail. It's true with your first notice, your eighth notice, whatever notice you send it. So that's something you want to keep in mind. And this is, experience registered agent address, whether you're going through small claims, district courts, you using the arbitration clause or whatever, you're gonna need that address, right? So this is why I just go ahead and put them on notice. So while most people might think about it like, okay, I'm sending a letter to the bureaus, I'm just sending to the PO box address. I look at it as like I'm addressing two people, right? So you got to think like I'm doing double the work of the common person that does credit repair, the common consumer that's disputing items on their report. So you got to look at it like that. All right, so just going back to the dispute notice, you can underline that if you want. So I put a copy of my Experian consumer report. Remember, consumer report. It's not your credit report. If you go to the FCRA, we're going to go to the FCRA, by the way. So I pulled a copy of my Experian consumer report and noticed some items that I would like to dispute. The items are as follows. Remember, this is basically, because when we go back to the what, maybe I should color code. Hold on. Let's do orange. I used to love orange, like when I was a kid or whatever. But the what, right? So what happened? Like the way my brain works, I look at it like like in a formulaic manner. Maybe that's because, like I said, I was a chemical engineer when I was in school, right? So maybe that's just the way my brain operates. But I know that some of y'all that may be thinking, like, you just hop on here, you don't know what to do. This is gonna help y'all have some formula. You don't gotta just freestyle it like you just hopping in the studio. You know what I'm saying? So just giving y'all some structure. So what happened? And then what items, right? Let me just recopy what happened. I'll just change it up a little bit. So what items? Remember, we said the items are as follows. So we could just say creditor. Let's just say which one of these crooks do we want to use? Let's just say Discover Bank, right? There's a late payment. It's creditor, late payment reporting or something, right? And then reasoning. So your dispute reason, right? And this is going to go back into the why, which we're going to discuss later. You can say something as simple as if we're referencing 15 USC 1681 C-2, you could say this item is not related to a transaction authorized by me, the consumer. And then also too, you gotta keep in mind that late payments basically are excluded from your consumer report. So we're gonna get into that law essentially. I just want to give y'all the basic stuff. Like when we have our actual letter that goes more in depth, it's on there. But this is just me on the spot, just kind of giving y'all the formula, right? So just keep that in mind. So you can talk about the creditor, the type of item it is, late payment reporting or whatever, and the reasoning. You go over the law and all that. So then you can talk about your agency has violated my rights under the Fair Credit Reporting Act or 15 US, so US Code 1681. And then one thing that I like to do, this kind of goes back to the what happened. Remember, we're still in the what. I like to break down the history of why I didn't paste. I like to break down the history of the actual law. So hold on. 15 USC 1681. So we're gonna go to congressional findings section. Why is it not working? Okay. 1681. 15 USC 1681. And my internet tweaking. All right. So if you look at it, right, I like the reasonable procedures. So I'm gonna basically copy this. And this is something I would include in my CFPB as well. I like this as well. And then I like this as well, like 1681A4. So like I said, I'm just giving y'all the formula, so I'm not going to go too in depth. But basically, look, Congress makes the following findings: the banking system is dependent upon fair and accurate credit reporting, etc. So under all of this, I would explain. Hold on. So basically, by them reporting the negative information, basically explain by them reporting the negative information, they are contributing to the inefficiency of the banking system and public confidence of us, the consumers. And then there's a need to ensure consumer reporting agencies exercise their great responsibilities with fairness, etc. So kind of same thing, just explain. Hold on, this orange stuff. Explain how you have a right to privacy. You could add, the privacy acts over there if you wanted to, just kind of add what you need to add. I just like adding some of the history. And then it's the purpose of the reasonable procedures. One thing I like about this too, I like tying in, like if it's your follow-up notice, 15 USC 1681I number 7, method of verification. So that's a good one to put there as well. And you just want to talk about basically that they have to operate in what is fair and equitable to you, the consumer, right? So, remember to keep that in mind. So that's just stuff I like to add, just to beef up the letter a little bit, right? Just give them some history, coach them on, the stuff that they don't know or whatever. And then basically, why are you able to dispute? So this is where we get into our laws. Your agency is in violation of the Fair Credit Reporting Act's, let's just say permissible purpose section. This law states, and there you go. So we just gonna go to, actually, since it's 1681B and I still want a 1681A2 AI, let's just focus on here. Also, too, one thing I would do, I would I would include a consumer report in there. So basically just, hold on. I would even explain consumer report in the beginning. So, you have these items and then just kind of explain consumer report, how it's defined, that kind of thing. You can, explain a little bit more as you want. Like, remember, it's formulaic, but you add everything that you want to add. So that kind of lets you know that not every letter that we draft is going to be the same, but it follows the same formula. The main thing I want y'all to take from this video is not necessarily the every little detail that I'm putting in the letter, but more so the actual formula of the what, why, and how, right? So why, let's just color code that green. So after we copy, I was gonna do permissible purpose, but let's just do the exclusion section. So we copy this, right? We basically explain consumer report after, because we explained consumer report earlier. You could literally explain consumer report right here if you wanted to. So consumer report, we explained how, basically these stuff are excluded from a consumer report. So because of the fact that it's information solely as to transactions or experiences, right? And some people get confused as far as why these late payments are classified as that. The reason why is the whole thing with the transaction, you got to think about consumer credit transaction. When you extended that credit to yourself, That's basically what the transaction that was going on is. Transaction could simply be the simple fact of, that history with the experience can be that's the history that you have with that bank, right? Discover Bank being in this actual example. So this is just in simple terms. This is why late payments are excluded. This is why when you see people online, I mean, I've even said it myself, saying late payments are illegal. This is what we're referring to because it's included in that transaction. So that's why it can be excluded because exclusion means it's not included. So just kind of remember that. So I said, permissible purpose, but this is obviously not the permissible purpose law. So everything I just said as far as transaction and why it's not included, that's kind of what you would write in your why section. So that's why I say like explain why it's a violation. That's why that's a violation. Permissible purpose. Y'all know in accordance with the written instruction of the consumer to whom it relates. I'm gonna copy and paste it, right? Change the fonts too, make sure everything looks uniform. So I would copy and paste it like I did with the exclusion stuff. And then with the why, remember, why is it a violation? I'm going to explain. They did not get my written consent to go ahead and put that information on there. And remember, it ties back into the history. Congress made the following findings. The banking system is dependent upon fair and accurate credit reporting. As they continue to report these negative items, they're contributing to what is unfair and messing up the public confidence, right? Of everything that's going on within this United States corporation. Remember, we the consumers, we're the powerful ones. Banks are borrowing, right? Based off of our credit. So remember that. And they've assumed this role where they also need to respect our right to privacy. So everything is just going back to that congressional findings section. That's how I want y'all to look at it. This is what's going on in my mind, and I want y'all to embrace the same mindset. If you just use a formula, you're gonna write a good dispute letter on accident. You know what I'm saying? And then how it is a violation. So the why and how is kind of it goes together. You know what I'm saying? I just wanted to separate it just so y'all know that there's different elements. So how is it a violation? Right? Why is it a violation? And how is it a violation? How is it a violation? This goes back to just in simple terms, 1681N. So or 1681O. So if you go to willful noncompliance or them being negligent, that's really where it goes back to the how. Because whatever law you're using, it goes back to that remedy section, right? So keep that in mind. And then we pretty much wrap up our notice with like what we want them to do. One thing I like to say too, I contacted the Federal Trade Commission and my report ID number. So kind of let them know that too. If you contacted the BBB, if you contacted the state attorney general, and I will be filing a Consumer Financial Protection Bureau complaint. And then like the what you want them to do, like basically what you want them to do to wrap it up, right? Basically let them know like they need to conduct an investigation. They need to conduct an investigation and remind them that each violation of the FCRA is $1,000 per violation. So you will seek litigation for monetary damages, and you could say defamation of your character, credit worthiness. So just kind of explain that to them. And then remember, I said you're sending this certified mail. So at that point too, you want to also let them know if this investigation is complete, etc. They should send you a new copy of your report to the address listed above, right? And then best name, and then copy of ID and utility bill attached. So then you attach that, and that's pretty much it. Like I said, the main thing, I don't want y'all to get too obsessed into like literally everything, but it's more so the formula, right? I want y'all to understand the formula. And one thing too, like if you're sending to the creditor regarding late payments, y'all know 15 USC 1666B. So go ahead and put that as well. And then obviously with collections, you're going to go to your FDCPA. This is why I said it varies depending on the item that you're actually disputing. But a universal thing for reporting item is that permissible purpose section. So that's why we like to use it as one of our foundational laws. But one of the biggest differences that we've seen is in explaining that history. When I say explaining that history, these congressional findings stuff that these congressional findings stuff that I'm including, explain that and add that because that adds layers to your actual dispute letter. But your dispute letter should not be hard to write. Most basic thing you want to remember, like I said, is gonna be the what, the why, and the how, and then what you want them to do. So we go back to the what again. So you can look at it as like a sandwich because we end with the what again, right? So look at it as like a sandwich. We might coin that like the sandwich method. So that's how I want y'all to look at it. Um, this is a This is like a lopsided sandwich because it's like you see how long that one is, pause, and you see how this one is like short. I want to make it even. Hold on. Let me copy this real quick. It's not gonna make sense, but we're just gonna copy it to where, oh damn, it don't even. Okay. So, okay, well, this is okay, it looks pretty even, right? The orange is a line. You know what I'm saying? All right, so this is the dispute method sandwich or dispute notice sandwich, whatever, right? Sandwich method. That's what we're gonna call it, the sandwich method. So what happened? What items are you disputing? What do you want them to do? Then you get into the why. Why are you able to dispute it? That goes back into the laws. So 15 USC 1681A2AI, right? Transactions are experiences. But how is it a violation? Okay, transactions are excluded from a consumer report. That's how it is a violation. What is a consumer report? That's why you want to identify to them what a consumer report is, right? Any written, oral, etc. Right? You can read that on your own time. And then you're basically explaining the law that you're talking about, right? How is it a violation as well? It leads back to the civil liability, 15 USC 1681N, willful noncompliance, 15 USC 1681O. They're negligent, right? Negligence. So then it leads to what happened again. What do you want them to do? Do the investigation. Delete this item ASAP, or I'm going to take you to court. It's $1,000 per violation, right? So this is the dispute method, sandwich dispute method, whatever you want to call it. I hope that this was helpful for y'all. Remember, you want to send it to the register agent address as well. You don't want to just send to the P.O. Box address. I don't recommend that. And best practice as well. Don't just draft up the notice to the bureaus, but also send to the creditor as well. That goes for inquiries too. Most times with inquiries, we just focus on the credit bureau, but I want y'all to also focus on the creditor as well, because you want to just cover all your bases so that you're putting everybody on notice. If it goes to court, you notified everybody. You notified the registered agent. You notified the PO box of the bureaus. You notified the creditor. You let them know what it was, right? So keep that in mind. Hopefully this was helpful. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Comment if it was helpful. Y'all just be looking, just being weird. Like, don't be weird. Comment if it was helpful. Don't just be looking like, oh, I'm looking. Michael's putting information out, and you don't leave feedback. So how am I gonna know it was helpful? Right? So like, comment, subscribe. I mean, the likes help. It lets me know it's helpful. But comment, say something. Y'all have a blessed one.